welcome back everybody to Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast. I'm Will, and this is Seth Morrissey, the president of Oregon Web Solutions. And today we're going to talk about web optimization and SEO and what that all means and how to apply it to your property as well as any type of vacation home or hotel. So Seth, thank you for being on the show, my man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so Seth reached out to me via Instagram, saw a post, and we just connected, and obviously direct bookings, guest care, and marketing is a huge part, and SEO goes all with it. So we decided an episode would be well worth it. So kind of introduce us to what you do, how you started, what made you create this company, what made you kind of go into the path that you're on now.
Absolutely. So yeah, my name is Seth Morrissey, as Will mentioned. I got started in video production about 10 years ago. Always had a passion for marketing, but really just video production got my foot in the door. And I did videos for the property we're in. We're here at the River Inn in Seaside, yes. A great client of mine, and his 13 other properties. And one thing I realized about doing videos is people can have a great video, but if they don't know how to promote it and market it, it does them no good. So after creating videos for cities like Newport and Seaside and Cannon Beach and big TV like OPB and different things, I've realized that having that great content is good, but you need to have the follow through to actually promote it. So that's what kind of led to the creation of our marketing agency, Oregon Web Solutions. So we help clients with website design and search engine optimization. Really, we help them be found on Google. And so I think that's kind of where we're going to take this podcast today. Yeah. It is a subject that a lot of people are a little bit confused by. Yeah. It's a little bit mysterious, and I'm going to try to break it down as simply as I can for you guys.
And definitely with the hotel hospitality side, I think we're the slowest industry to adapt to these kind of tips and tricks and ways to keep up with the trend. And so I think you're going to bring a lot of good value with that. And also, like you said, thank you for River Inn for letting us shoot here. It's pretty cool to do finally a good local shoot podcast. So it's kind of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So pretty much just break it down for a lot of people out there that are listening to the podcast. Okay. A lot of people are either brand new, they're either front desk housekeeping, or they're in the executive owner stage. Okay. And of course, then we have our vacation rental side. So what is SEO? Okay. How do you use it? What has it evolved from being just on Google to where it's at now?
Okay, yeah, so search engine optimization, otherwise known as SEO, is basically the process of taking your online assets, whether it's your Google My Business, your website, videos, photo, and moving them to the top of the search rankings. Because what happens when someone searches, it's what's called intent-based, and they already know what they want, they just don't know who they're gonna get it from. So maybe they're doing research, maybe they're ready to buy, but if your asset does not pop up in the top 3 positions, that's what all the data shows us, you really have no chance of being found. So SEO is that process of moving your assets up to the top so you can just sit back and collect those leads.
Okay, so in a way, so how do you get from, I guess, what's the most organic, I guess, reach or platform you've seen for your clients and from today's just overall shift in market?
Yeah, so the battle is, there's really a 2-pronged approach that you need to take for SEO, and obviously there's more things you can do, but number one, it's the Google My Business listing. Okay. If you're dealing with any kind of local search, whether it's local intent, that's gonna pop up in over 90% of searches.
So what's the best way to optimize that? I guess adding location, tags.
Yep, so we can get in that first. So the Google My Business listing, first you need to set it up. To set it up, you go to google.com/business. If any properties don't have that set up, now they're way behind the 8 ball. They're drowning.
Yeah, 1995.
Yeah, so set that up, and then what you need to do is you need to make sure it's verified. In order to verify it, you need to send a postcard to your property, and you need to get in there and put in that code, make sure it's verified. The next tip I'd give to people is to make sure you fill out everything completely. So there's a lot of stuff there, but Google's algorithm and ranking is really determined on, a big portion of it is, are you filling out that profile completely? So go through and do everything. Pick your hours, say if you're closed for holidays, do things like add photos. Okay. And you're not just gonna wanna add a photo, you're gonna wanna max out those photos because you're gonna wanna fill that profile out completely. Okay. Next step I would do, and we can get into some deeper tactics if you want to later, but let's just cover the basics. Next step, what I would do is I would get reviews on it from happy customers. So most people don't have a process for this. And what happens is if you don't have a process for this, the only reviews you're gonna get are bad ones, right? Yeah. So you need to make it a priority and part of your marketing campaign to direct people to that Google My Business to leave a review. Because if you can get over that 4-star mark, it's gonna put you in a whole different category than people who are under it. So that should be the benchmark for anyone out there with a hotel.
Perfect. That's actually kind of what we did as my company is open from Slick Talk to we reached out to every guest and every person we've ever come in contact with and sent out a review, and it worked out magically. Like you said. So what he's saying, there is power behind it. There is power behind reviews, and it does, of course, increase that search. So now for the state of SEO and hospitality industry, what are the recent updates and challenges that you see with clients and just again overall shift in the market that can provide value to anybody that's listening?
Absolutely. So we have a lot of clients in the hospitality sector, so I watch it very closely, as well as watching other sectors, and I can tell you no sector or no industry is as pinched from Google search as hospitality. And the reason they're getting pinched is because everyone knows the challenges with OTAs, the Travelocity, the Expedia, the Hotels.com, the Booking.com, all those sites. They're pinching you from one aspect, but then Google is also trying to make money from you in another. So you're really competing against both the OTAs and Google at the same time.
Because you're putting in ad money, or is it through other services?
It's more because Google has found an opportunity to get more money out of you. So what they're doing is they're gaming the rankings in such a way that if you don't pay to get found, it's going to be really hard for you to get those results. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's two things going on. There's the Google PAC, and then there's the website rankings, which comes under the PAC. And really, you need to be able to compete in both. And Google's really putting pressure on both of those. So for anyone out there with a hotel, you need to have an aggressive campaign to make sure your Google My Business comes up, but you also need to focus on your website rankings.
Yes. Okay, and so for website optimization, I'm pretty sure you're probably a big fan of WordPress.
Yeah,
I would say.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what for anybody in the hotel industry or vacation rental that does end up having their own website for direct bookings instead of just OTA? How do you fight the OTA? Because the OTAs have millions of dollars in backing up on their marketing strategy as well as their audience. Millions of users versus independent hotels where they they have their core following of people that maybe come stay there every summer since they opened. Which was 10, 15, 20 years ago. So what is the way that they can use their website to also increase that growth and that reach?
Absolutely. So this is a big topic. Let's start first of why you'd want someone to your website as opposed to book direct with an OTA. Aside from the commission that the OTA is going to take, the reason you want them on your site, there's a couple of reasons. Is one, you're going to capture their email, which you might not be able to get with the OTA. Number two, you're going to create that loyalty with them. And number three, you can do what's called pixeling them. So when you have your website and someone comes to it, you can set up a pixel on your site that actually puts a tracking cookie on their browser. And so then you can serve them up ads going forward for the next 7 to 10 days until they decide to book a property. And the reason this is so valuable is when people are shopping for hotels, what they'll do is they'll go to a couple different sites. And so if you can run ads to them after they've hit your site and they've shown some interest, then you have a really good chance of getting that direct booking.
So now is that kind of something like when you are talking to a group of friends and then you're on Facebook and you're scrolling, let's say you guys are talking about cookies from Anne's ice cream or something like that, and then all of a sudden you're scrolling through Facebook and boom, you see ads for Anne's ice cream.
That's exactly the strategy, And the reason it's so important in the hospitality sector is because when someone's getting ready to book a trip, there's no way to really know where they're going or when they're going unless you can predict the future, right? It's different than a gym down the street. You know that anyone in that radius might be a customer. Well, someone in Portland, you don't know if they're going to come here to Seaside where we're recording this podcast at a certain date. And so once they hit your site, that's your best indicator that they're really serious about booking a hotel, and that's when you should throw the kitchen sink at them. So once we get them, we've established why it's important to get to their site. Here's how you get people to your site is one, you either need to be on a WordPress or an HTML build. If any of your listeners out there are on a Wix, a Weebly, a Squarespace, a drag and drop, forget it. You're not going to be able to compete with the OTAs.
And why do you think that is?
It's because these platforms are built for speed, they're built for simplicity, and they don't have the functionality to appear at the top of Google. They just don't. All the data shows us that. They really need to be on a Wix, a Weebly, or some kind of other custom build that kind of has a more robust platform.
So Wix, Weebly are good or
no go? So Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, GoDaddy, those are good landing pages if you're going to just type in the URL directly, but you're never going to have good results in the Google
search.
search.
Pretty much for anybody looking at Slick Talk, they have to type that in in order for it to come up. On WordPress, you can type in hotel podcast in the PNW or hotel podcast in America, and hopefully that would be a benefit for.
Yeah, you're gonna have a better chance of being found. So whenever we're thinking SEO, we're thinking foundations. What gives us the best possible chance? And either a WordPress or an HTML build is gonna do that.
Okay. And so for your company, obviously, you guys have gotten into that sector, right? So how hard is it for, let's say, an independent company like a independent hotel that has no name brand backing like Marriott or Hilton?
Yep.
Obviously, other than the benefits, how hard is it for them to kind of maintain that after, let's say, somebody creates a website and it's done?
Yeah. So the only way you're really going to be able to compete in any of these big major keywords is you're going to have to commit to creating content regularly.
Okay.
Right. And the way we do that is every website has a homepage, and that's fine. People will find that when they search directly. But the way we create content is we create pages on the site. Okay. So some of those pages, just to give you a really easy example, it could be the domain name of the website / things to do in Seaside, Oregon.
Yes.
Right. That would be a potential piece of content that you could create, and that's how people are going to find your site easier. Now, if you have a specific niche, let's say you're a boutique hotel, one of the pages you could create is boutique hotel in Seaside, Oregon, right? And you could add unique content to that page, you could add a video, and that's one way you could be found, right?
Okay.
Just competing head to head with the OTAs for a term, let's say like Seaside, Oregon hotels, is going to be very challenging. And the reason for this is because when someone searches that term, their intent is not necessarily for a specific hotel, their intent is for a list of hotels so they can get kind of a broad range and make a choice.
And shop the best they can.
Yeah, and the OTAs, what they've done brilliantly is gone out and made these guides, right? Seaside, Oregon hotels, they're gonna list out all the different hotels. And when someone searches that term, that's what they want. They want a guide. They wanna know what hotels are out there. They don't want just a specific property yet. They're not ready. And so it's gonna be really hard for you to create those guides on your site and compete. So what I say is when they zig, you zag, you need to kind of niche down into something different that they're not competing for.
Definitely. Well, for the vacation rental side, then what is because a lot of my clients and a lot of listeners, especially out in Washington, a lot of people are jumping into this market. Obviously, they have this asset, this property that is sitting either vacant or just not doing any functionality where they could be making money. So of course they throw it on Airbnb, VRBO, and of course, like any smart person that jumps into this industry, Airbnb, VRBO, great platforms to get a lot of good viewers, but they want to get creative. They want to create their own brand. So best way for SEO optimization for them.
So if you're an individual property owner and not a company that manages multiple properties, it's going to be very challenging for you through SEO. I would almost recommend doing things like creating an Instagram, having a Facebook presence, and really build loyalty through your unique offering. Right? But if, let's say you're a vacation rental company, right, and you manage 20, 30 properties. In the last couple of months, I talked to you about this before the podcast, we call it the vacation rental apocalypse. So before, when people were searching in Google and they searched vacation rental Seaside, Oregon, they got the actual company that has all the vacation rentals and they could go to that site and book direct. Now what Google did is they did an update where now you're getting all the individual properries.
Individual.
So basically it cut those direct bookings away from the companies, and now people can book directly through Google. So, if you have a company, you just lost a lot of revenue. But I wouldn't say give up. I would say keep doing the fight. Keep trying to optimize your individual listings. Keep trying to optimize your website, because there's always changes and it could change back. But right now, they're in a world of hurt. If you're an individual property, that actually did benefit you a little bit, because instead of having a big company come up, now there's individual properties and you could potentially get in that Google pack.
So more individual owners, like you said, better for them, but the management companies where you have 5, 10 plus properties, not so well. So with that, I guess my thing, because I'm a huge fan of like Gary Vee, I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins, all these people. I personally created my whole business off the platform of the podcast. The podcast has been my SEO optimization. So what's your opinion on the audio marketing segment right now?
Oh, I think it's great. I think people, passively want to drive and be able to consume content. I think, a lot of times they want to be doing something else and still listening. So I think it's a great segment. I think that video is still alive and well as well. And you can always take a video and rip it to audio, right? And so you can have both. So, if a property out there, let's say a hotel property, is looking to create content, one thing they should think a little bit outside the box, like this River Inn we're in now. Our company's created 3 videos for these guys, and what they've done differently is we don't create videos about the hotel necessarily. That's an element of the video, but the videos are lifestyle. So Why would you want to come to Seaside? Well, you want to ride the Surreys, you want to be on the beach, you want to go on the boats on the river. And so they're creating these videos that hook people in by the experience of the city.
Yes.
And then at the end, we hit them with the hotel and kind of make that a seamless transition into the property. So
get them to envision themselves here already.
Pretty much, yeah. So we're basically pacing them of what that trip would be like. And what's nice about that is people don't feel like they're being sold to.
Yeah.
And then when they're going to pick a property to stay, why not stay with the person that gave them that experience?
Exactly.
So I think if any property out there is looking to kind of get an edge with SEO or any of their competition, think more lifestyle and not just sell your property all day.
Definitely. And I want to put this out there now because I've had this thought for a while and I haven't verbally spoke it to a public audience like this, but I think with Alexa Hospitality that launched with Marriott to be the first few brands to take in the device that can, service the guest in the room and play the music, call the front desk, order room service, right? Independent hotels don't have that. They don't have that budget. Let's be honest. They don't have that type of money to spend on all these devices and programs. So my idea, which I think if you agree on the audio segment, that I think hotels or whether individual boutique or a chain, including vacation rental sites, should create their own mini podcast series.
Yeah.
I think they should create a, what you expect when you stay here, the amenities in the room, what the story is behind them, what the story is of the property. Of course, have individual, directors or managers kind of speak on an episode, their best favorite things to do in the city, all that kind of stuff, and create your own Alexa. You have a little card in the room. It says, listen to our podcast, The River Inn, on Spotify, Apple, and Google.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the next step that individual independent boutiques will have against other properties. They're going to be able to get more down and nitty gritty with the customer. Plus, then you can also add a station where the guest can leave a verbal review.
Yeah,
and then you can choose to upload it or not.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think anything that the hotels, independents, or chains can do to get in between the customer and the booking process and provide value, that's what's going to get it more bookings.
Exactly. I love it. So obviously we discovered, what is SEO, what is optimization for you. Vacation rental side, obviously there's the apocalypse that's going on with the OTAs and kind of everything coming up. So what are the best SEO practices moving forward? Strategies that you definitely recommend other than my trademarked new idea?
All right, I won't take that one. But
that's okay.
Yeah. So as far as best practices, I mean, the battle's in the Google Pack right now. You need to be actively promoting your Google listing with reviews and updates. There is a way you can post and actually do posts almost like you would on Facebook with your Google listing.
Google Business?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So this used to be Google Plus, then now it's rolled into Google listing. That we're seeing that in our data that is influencing the rankings.
Okay.
Reviews are influencing the rankings as long as they're good. So all those things you can do to work on the pack. On the back side, we need to still focus on the website. Even though Google has kind of pinched us, a lot of these properties there, you don't want to give up on your website. This is a long-term game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so really focus on creating content, but also you need to create backlinks to that content. And the way you do that is to promote it. So some simple ways to promote it would be on social. Everyone knows that.
Definitely.
You could team up with retailers and do link swaps. Some other ways you could get links to your site would be to join the local chamber. That's a very valuable link that Google loves, because let's say this property joins the chamber and the chamber site then links to this property, right, the website. Google can make almost 100% certain that you actually are there and that you're trusted if you have a chamber link from the local chamber. So that's another really simple thing that properties can do.
And why is that? Like, because in my, I'm in a little bit of a younger generation, so Chamber of Commerce really for us, especially with entrepreneurs, they go way more different directions than your classic old school chamber and maybe flyers, all that kind of stuff. So why do you think that is? That it's still that's one of the very few forms that will help.
Because no one would get a chamber link that's not actually in a community, because they're not going to pay the fee, they're not going to fill out their profile. And so what Google's trying to do is figure out trust, right? When it serves a result up for someone, it needs to make 100% sure that that's a good result, and that's why people use the search engine, because it gets good results. So when you can give Google anything that shows trust that you are in that community, that's going to put you over the top. So things like chamber link, things like from your visitors bureau, any other local business linking to you, all those things are super valuable for SEO.
Awesome. Well, Seth, I always like to end episodes with, the guests getting to, give out any tips, tricks that they just always like to give out, to give a shout out to anybody, and kind of maybe anything exciting going on with your company, Oregon Web-Based Solutions.
Yeah. Thank you. So we have, as I mentioned, two things. We do the video production, so that's Morrissey.com, MORRISEY.com. If you want to learn more, just Morrissey Productions, we're everywhere. Our agency is OregonWebSolutions.com. You can check us out. As far as going forward, as I mentioned earlier, I would say, from a property standpoint, especially the independents, don't give up. Be active on Instagram, be active on Facebook, create that lifestyle content. Even if it's not the best, just get it out there. Definitely focus on building out your website. So a lot of people think that the website is antiquated and we don't need that and we can just rely on OTAs, but OTAs will end up biting you. And so you need to have your own assets, and the only asset you can really own on the internet 100% is your website. So
100%.
never, anything you do to your website is always going to pay dividends long term. So focus there, and then just hope for the best.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys again for choosing to listen to Slick Talk. Again, Seth has been a great guest. Check him out. Give him a follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll be back next week with more great content.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
Thank you.